Hey everybody, welcome back to Park Time Adventures. So today we're just going to talk about some of our upcoming plans and projects that we're going to be doing here on the channel. So if you've been following us since the beginning, or you've seen some of those videos from the beginning, we kind of started this channel with the plan and intent of doing like different challenges at Disneyland. Well, that in itself now has become a challenge because Disneyland has been closed literally almost right after we started the channel. So that's been just a little frustrating. We know when the park reopens as well that everything's not going to be the same. So like some of the challenges won't work till things get more back to normal. Like how many times can we go on Peter Pan in a day? Well, if they're operating at 20% capacity, it's not going to be the same as it would have been on a normal day. We could, maybe get on it 100 times under those circumstances. Who knows? Another one we wanted to do was trying to sit on every seat in the canoes and take that many laps around the river, but we don't even know if that's going to be open when the parks do reopen, just because of social distancing issues and people touching the oars and things like that. So we're not sure how that's going to play out either. Now, if it is open, crowd capacity won't really have an impact on that ride, just because it is almost always just a walk-on anyway. So no matter what the circumstances, that won't really affect that. But again, we don't know if that's even going to be open or what that's going to look like when the parks do reopen. We are hoping that the parks will be reopening soon. We feel like any day now there might be an announcement. We keep hoping, at least. I know they're just still waiting on the state for their guidelines. But maybe today what we're going to talk about will help make you feel like you're at Disneyland. So we're going to do kind of a preview of an upcoming project that we can do when Disneyland reopens, no matter what the crowd conditions look like. And that's going to be kind of a Disneyland then versus now series. So I've got some really old pictures that I got from my mom of Disneyland through the decades. So we're going to take a look at those right now. So the first one right here is going to be the Autopia. My guess is this is probably early to mid 90s. There's no date on the pictures that I am aware of. Trying to check to see. No, I don't really see a date. So it's probably mid to early 90s. So what we're going to try to do in this series is recreate some of these shots and then also compare what they looked like then versus what we look like now. So I mean, I don't know that a lot has changed here. Maybe some of it has changed, maybe some of the signage or the landscaping. But I know the track has changed, but this particular section you can see there's like that little overpass right there. And then I believe off in the distance is the loading station, and then way off in the distance should be where Star Wars Launch Bay is now. And actually I think this has changed a lot, because I want to say there's a big building up here on the left with there's that airplane and stuff right before you come in the station. So I kind of might be tricky trying to recreate this photo just because the track layout has changed, so maybe the track doesn't even go this exact path anymore. The one thing that's going to be key to identifying this spot is going to be the People Mover track that you can see over there on the right. I believe that's the People Mover track and not the monorail. If you look up in the upper right hand corner, you can see the underside, and it's not just the single beam that the monorail would be going on. So that's got to be the People Mover track, and we know the People Mover track hasn't been touched ever. So we'll see if we can identify this exact spot the next time that we do get a chance. And now the next picture that you're seeing here, this is the Motorboat Cruise. And given that that is my older brother in the picture, this is probably early to mid 80s, maybe like 82, 83, 84, if I had to take a guess. Again, the pictures aren't dated. And you can see if you can look up at the top part right there, you can see a little streaky yellow. I believe that's probably the Autopia car going by on that bridge. So that may not even be there anymore. I want to say the Autopia track doesn't go over there anymore. That's from the older track when it had the dual sides, the Tomorrowland side and the Fantasyland side. So that may not be there, but again, there's one solid beam right there. That's got to be the monorail tracks. I don't believe the People Mover went over there either. This picture is going to have changed a lot if we can find this exact angle and this exact spot. Just because the Motorboat Cruise isn't there anymore. The dock is still there where you would board the rides, but that's now like an overflow eating area for Edelweiss snacks over by the Matterhorn. So that dock is there, which means this picture looks like it was probably taken close to that dock. So we could probably find where this was and see if we can get a good one of that. So the next picture now we're looking at is Thunder Mountain. So this is like the return area right before you would get back to the loading zone. I don't believe much of this has changed. Maybe some of the storefronts have changed or been refurbished or touched up with paint. Maybe some of the trees and stuff in the background have changed. I know for sure we can easily get this exact shot. In fact, I almost want to say this is taken from like Rancho del Zocalo. Or maybe not, but I know we can get this shot because I know I have this exact picture with me on it from just a couple of years ago. So we should be able to recreate this shot. It won't be much of a challenge. It'll just be interesting to see how, if at all, it's changed over the years. Again, looking at the timeline here, I would say probably mid to early 90s is this picture. And then looking at the next picture, so this is from Main Street. So that's me and my brother with Tigger. So you can see the Disney showcase there on the left, and then in the background is Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and then some of the other shops. So this is taken almost right from like Town Square. If you look, if we could move the camera over to the left, you would probably be able to look right down Main Street. This is probably like right where like they put the pumpkin and the Christmas tree and stuff today. So again, this will be an easy one to recreate. It'll be interesting to see how this area changed. I don't anticipate a lot of changes just because Main Street hardly has changed over the years. But still, it'll be a cool picture to try to recreate and get that same spot from. The only thing is Tigger and Eeyore don't really come over here. They're usually over in Pooh's Corner, so we won't be able to get them in the shot, but still be an interesting one to recreate. And then this one. So this one you can see has changed a lot. So this is Dumbo. And what's mainly different is you can see it looks like the queue wraps around the front side, like into Fantasyland proper right there. Either that's the queue or that's just a lot of people passing through or people watching their kids go on the ride. It's hard to tell. Again, the timeline based on my age in the picture, probably early to mid 90s, probably like 94. Again, these pictures aren't really dated. The only thing that's different really today is the queue, is different now. They've built that new shaded queue that wraps around the other side. You can see Mr. Toad in the background, and then the clock from Peter Pan, and then a little bit of the carousel. We should be able to get this exact picture, probably right about where they load the ride, but we should be able to take this picture and get that shot with the elephants and then Mr. Toad in the background. So I don't believe, that much has changed, at least as far as Mr. Toad goes. But it'll be interesting to see it and compare it. Maybe the colors are different, maybe the tones are different. You definitely know there won't be that many people standing that close together. And then the final one here is the Sword in the Stone in front of the carousel. Again, I don't believe this has changed much. Not sure if this will even be open when Disneyland reopens, just because it went down for refurb right before the park closed. And then some like the videos we've seen of flyovers from Mice Chat and stuff like that has shown the scaffolding and stuff up still around it. So maybe we won't get this one right away, but eventually we would be able to. Again, I don't think much has changed here, just because that particular ride hasn't really gone through a lot of changes. When we can easily, obviously, recreate that picture, but it'll be a fun one just to compare anyway. So that's just a couple, just like a small sample. Like I said, this is just kind of a preview of that project. I've got a ton of other pictures and videos and stuff to go through. So we're looking forward to doing that. Again, that's something we can do regardless of what the conditions are at Disneyland as far as the new operating restrictions will be, versus those could impact the other challenges. So we're going to hold off on some of those until the park goes back to more like the normal conditions that we're used to at Disneyland. So that's just going to about do it for today. Look for those videos. They should be coming, not too long after the parks reopen, and we will be there whenever the park does reopen. So if you guys aren't, make sure you guys are subscribed so that when those videos do come out, you guys get those notifications and you can keep up with everything that we have going on. So thank you again for watching and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.